they, you know, they really, really upset the cars. But the problem with the sausage curbs is that they're also supremely penal for people who didn't make an actual mistake. You get run off the track by another car. A driver, I remember in a I can't remember if it was F2 or F3 race at Monza a few years ago, went over the curb, it upset the cart, and the guy flew over and into the fence. This is not commensurate with what a mistake or what a minor infraction is. I mean, when guys are getting taken out of races, cars are getting destroyed. This is no longer about a deterrent. This is something that has to be addressed by the FIA, and a little bit of common sense, has to come into play, because if a driver, there's already rules about track limits in Formula One. So if somebody drives off the track, if somebody exceeds, what they're calling track limits, there's a penalty that can be imposed for that. These things are just dangerous, and they're outdated, and to me they're just flat stupid, where again, you could be the victim of somebody else's mistake and have your day ended, or worse, get hurt. Like it's just, I don't know, it's madness.
These two have been going at it. Max and Lewis have been going out. It seems like for a long time. Is there a point now where it's starting to get maybe too intense and too dangerous for both riders, or is this just kind of normal as we follow the F1 season?
I'd say this is pretty normal. People are really quick to judge what they don't understand. That I had a few conversations with people over the week since this happened, and people want to blame either Lewis or Max. They take a look at this isolated incident and say that Lewis could have offered more room, or Max could have done this. But, I think right now what's happening is Lewis is finally stepping up and saying he's not going to back down. Even earlier in this race, on lap one, Max got, Lewis got a run on Max. They went to a different chicane. Max drove wide. Lewis had to go over the curbs, but he didn't take, Max out. When the opportunity for Lewis to stick it towards Max and not back down was there, Max didn't concede. He could have very easily got out of it. And, you can call, I'm probably laying more of the blame on Max than Lewis in this situation, but Max could have easily backed out. He didn't have to challenge like that. Both of these drivers knew that whoever came out of that chicane ahead was going to be the one to challenge for the lead. Neither one backed down. Max had the lesser line. It was the lower percentage move. And if he's got any thought whatsoever towards winning the championship, which maybe that was part of what was happening, because this seemed to be more of a deliberate move. And there were a number of comments that were made by broadcasters like Damon Hill, who questioned whether or not this was a deliberate move to get Lewis out of the race. Max only has a small lead right now. I don't think these things are deliberate, but these guys are giving us a lot of fodder and a lot of material to talk about here. I mean, I would rather be able to see these two guys demonstrate their abilities as excellent drivers than this kind of nonsense and look like boneheads.
Daniel Ricciardo wins his first race since 2018. Him and Lando Norris finish 1-2. That's the first team all year to have 1-2 for McLaren. And we're nearing the, now obviously, the two leading guys went out. So, if you want to say an asterisk, sure, but they won the race, and hey, that's all that matters. But when you look at kind of moving forward, Colin, the competition, do you think that next year it's going to be more fair, and we're going to see more than just like two? Because right now, Hamilton and Verstappen, it's clear they're finishing 1-2. It's just going to be a matter of who's 1-2. No one else is really close. You think that's going to change next year when the cap, like the spending cap, comes in play?
Yeah, I sure hope so. These new regulations, really seem like the drivers are going to be able to have a lot more control. They're not going to be so dependent on downforce. The cars will be able to follow closer, and they'll be built a lot more equal. It's not going to be the team that spends the most amount of money, because I think all teams will be able to spend to the maximum of the cap. But with the new configuration, that's going to change most of everything. And I sure hope so, because, when when you see what these drivers are actually capable of, when they're not so worried about not worried, but affected by aerodynamics, it's going to be a lot of fun. We see that every weekend in the Pinty series. Our cars are entirely dependent on mechanical grip, and you can really see the guys who know how to control these things.
Colin Livingston joins us in the CanTorque Racing Report. And so, Colin, they move now. Their next race, of course, will be in Russia next weekend. Meanwhile, IndyCar, you pretty much predicted it. The first corner at Portland was a big mess. So there was like 6 cars missing the corner, lots of contact. But after that, it was fairly uneventful. Paolo wins it, reclaims the point lead. They're going to be racing again this weekend. And they're going to Seca. Is that a better track? Are you? Give me your call. What's going to happen on the first lap after you bang that one out loud?
Well, no one's going to call me Karnak for being able to predict something that was pretty obvious. Yeah, I mean, this weekend, Laguna Seca is just an awesome racetrack. Like there is, I say this about quite a few places, but just legendary track. Lots of elevation change that you don't really get to appreciate on TV. I can't make a prediction. At least the first corner at Laguna Seca, you come down a hill and it's more of a sweeping corner, not such a hard braking zone. There's definite potential for catastrophe, but the championship leaders, they've got to be a little bit more careful. The other guys, they can be a little bit more aggressive. I think we're getting down to two contenders between Alex Palou and Patricio O'Ward. I think Newgarden and Scotty D are maybe also rans at this point. But yeah, I mean, just a fantastic race. If anyone wants to see like just a gorgeous road course, you can't get a lot better than Laguna Seca there in Monterey.
Colin, just quickly, Michael Schumacher, there's a new film, a documentary about him. What are your thoughts on this, and what kind of angle do they approach or take to highlight his career?
Yeah, I mean, so many people are, getting their first taste of racing through all these Netflix, shows like Drive to Survive, and this Schumacher documentary is, I thought it was really well done. I can really appreciate Michael a little bit more as a person after seeing this. They cover more of the behind the scenes stuff and kind of tried to tie it into what was happening on the track. My first real exposure to Michael was when Villeneuve was challenging for the championship in '97. We all suspected that when Schumacher made contact with him, that it was a deliberate move. People will be debating that forever, but no, it was really, really well done. And again, anything that gets more eyes on the screens and gets more people, focused on racing, I'm in favor of. We just need to start getting more people out to actual racetracks. Formula One is awesome and it's a grand spectacle, but we need to, it'd be great if we could get people out to, local kart tracks, places like, EIR in Wetaskiwin, Castrol, get out and see real racing, and see how it compares to what these big guys are doing. I mean, all these guys start in these lower forms of racing, just like we talk about with hockey. Get out and support, minor hockey, and what's great is when you get to see people who are still competing for the love of things where money doesn't necessarily confuse it. So again, I'll take my big step off the soapbox, but hopefully we get more people out and supporting the local racetracks.
Well, you mentioned the local racetracks, and it's funny because NASCAR, they're talking about the LA County Coliseum. They're going to turn it into like a quarter oval. That's basically the size of the Wetaskiwin track. Am I not right on that, Colin? So you're going to have all the NASCAR cars on that size track. Like, it seems crazy.
It is insane to me why the top level in stock car racing continues to try and turn things into things that they're not. They configured Bristol Motor Speedway into a dirt track, which I still don't understand. I think that was a colossal mistake. And now for the Clash, now it's an exhibition race. Not every car is going to be on track, but last year there were 21 entries where these massive stock cars are going to get on basically the running track inside of LA County Coliseum, and run. I don't know, like, we put on a pretty good show at Wetaskiwin, but our cars have 300 to 400 horsepower less. I don't know. I don't know. There's so many great tracks that NASCAR could be going to, and so many great venues that would replicate what's going on. These guys are a lot smarter than I am, and they obviously have some goal in mind. But I honestly, I just don't get it.
Colin, always good to catch up with you. Quickly, give me your thoughts on the Schumacher documentary on Netflix. Have you seen it? What do you think?
I saw it just after it went live yesterday morning from about 4:45 until about 6:15. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's great to see, Michael more as a person than as a hard-nosed race car driver. Again, really, really well put together. Highly recommend it.
Awesome. Thanks for your time as always, Colin. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks a lot.
Livingston.
Same question twice.